Hi, my name is Michelle Stanley, and I'm the flute professor at Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado. Today, I'm going to talk with you about the excerpts for the All-State Orchestra and Band for flute. We're going to begin with the Kohler, which is marked excerpt number 1. I think this one's a really great one to start with because it actually has a descriptive title called The Fountain. And when I imagine a fountain, I'm imagining water flowing. So when I'm playing this excerpt, I'm really thinking about fluidity of my playing. Of course, I'm playing this in one, so I have a light, lifted, and effortless feel. And I always want it to flow. As I started to work on this excerpt, I also noticed that dynamics were very prominent. There's a ton of contrast between really soft piano playing and forte playing. So what I did when I worked on this piece is I slowed it way down so that my embouchure had the time to adjust when I'm making those shifts between piano and forte. You'll also notice, as I did, that there are accents marked within the measures, and sometimes they're embedded within one slur. So don't think of those accents as articulations so much, but maybe musical expression points with a little bit of weight to emphasize the note, more than just a kind of a pound. The other thing you might want to pay attention to are the articulations. The articulations, the slurs in particular, go over some beaming and over bar lines, which can be a little tricky. I also like to make sure that I'm tonguing in every one of those spots. I also want to make sure that my articulation of the staccatos in the high register are nice and clean and clear. Notice at that first staccato section that it's marked martellato, which means accented and detached. I like to think of that more as really good clarity on my staccato rather than accented. As you keep working on this etude, you're going to notice that the tempo is quite quick. And I think there's really one thing you can do to get yourself on the right footing practicing that. Start this excerpt from the first day really slowly. Start it at 40 if you have to, and go up 1 to 2 clicks a day. Then you can build to the 76 marking that the excerpt requires. When you do that, you're practicing slowly your dynamics and your articulations and even your air direction and your speed, which will really help you later on when you hit your target tempo at 76. And finally, the phrasing is probably the most important thing. The fountain should have this beautiful, long, flowing feel to it, and you should feel this wonderful effortlessness across the long phrases, rather than feeling like the individual phrases are the most important. Sometimes when the tempo is fast like this, it's really easy to get bogged down in every single note and every single measure. But the long phrases will help you kind of break free of that and feel the beautiful effortlessness that this excerpt should offer you. Good luck. And now I will perform Kohler's At the Fountain, excerpt number 1. Next, we're going to talk about the Andersen etude number 6, which is number 2 on the list for your all-state audition. This excerpt is quite slow, and it's marked at 46. There is a tendency for this to get very slow, but keep the momentum moving of the phrasing, thinking about where you're headed in your phrase and in your line. Isolate the trills that come up throughout the excerpt so that you really get a fluid and effortless technique. I found that when I practiced that D trill, that's really kind of cumbersome, just the trill, and then I attached it to the 30-second notes, and then I played the 30-second notes to the resolution note, and then I put it together, I had much more success with those kind of tricky trills that you'll find throughout the excerpt. I don't think that this excerpt really should go much above a mezzo forte dynamic. There is really no forte marked. The crescendos, keep them healthy, but maybe at a nice mezzo forte. And also, this is tying into the first thing we talked about, which is keeping that momentum moving forward. Those 30-second notes that you see throughout are like connecting material from melodic note to melodic note. So keep yourself kind of going towards those bigger notes, the larger valued notes, so that you have this nice, smooth transition between the 30-second notes. When we're thinking about the dynamics that we discussed earlier, also think about your pitch. When we're playing soft on the flute, our tendency is to play a little on the flat side. So you want to resist that temptation to do so. Keep the pitch up with your playing, but you also might want to help yourself out by pushing the head joint in just a smidge. The very end of the excerpt, you'll see a word called morendo. That means to die away, and it means to die away both in time and in dynamic. I choose to do this more dynamically and save my time change to the very end because it's already a pretty slow excerpt. And finally, the most challenging thing about this excerpt is most likely the rhythm. So put your metronome on subdivision, maybe clicking eighth notes, and be very clear about the division of the beat between the triplets and the 16th notes. Be careful that you don't rush the triplets, and make sure they have nice big space in there so that they have a really expressive quality to them. And I think you'll find that it gives the overall piece a beautiful phrase quality and expression. Good luck as you work on these excerpts, and I wish you luck on your auditions for All-State Orchestra in Colorado this year. And now I will perform Andersen's Etude number 6.